Welcome everybody to Group 2 here at LSR Season 12. This is round 6 and we're here at the Marina Bay Circuit in Singapore. A full entire grid here today and it's full qualifying. We've got Q1, Q2 and Q3 and a 50% race around one of the, well, more endurance racy kind of tracks due to the fact that it's not particularly long, but it has a very long lap time. The race time closer to 100% races in other tracks that are particularly short in lap time. So we've got a few drivers coming out right now, and who is that coming out first? It's one of the Mercedes. It's between Racing Uncle and Boaks, and it will be Racing Uncle, and just behind it's one of the V-Carbs, and that would be Strating just behind. Racing Uncle wearing the Hamilton helmet and lets Strating go past. So Strating is currently leading car for the outlap. Out on track at the moment. Is everything fine? We'll make sure that everything's fine up here. Oh, what's happened here? I got mixed conditions according to Q2, Q3 and race for is what Vacant is saying. And Q1 is fully dry, so it would be mixed conditions. That's going to throw a spanner in the works, and it doesn't certainly help in terms of race time. Oh, this is going to be a long broadcast, so get your popcorn here, ladies and gentlemen, because it's going to be a long affair. Let's focus on Strating. Oh, or not. Yep, Strating in the V-Carb. Just check if everything's healthy. Everything is healthy. Stream is healthy. Everything is healthy. So we can start to watch Strating take it away for a lap around Marina Bay. What I believe is 22 corners. And Strating would need to get through this turns 1 to 3/8 complex particularly fine, using most of the track available. And he does a decent job of it. Some cars now leaving the pits now. We've got a Haas coming out on an outlap, as well as a Sauber, a Red Bull and Ferrari, all leaving the pits with 15 minutes left of Q1 to go. Mixed conditions for Q2, Q3 and the race. So what that means, I believe, is intermediates and well, a mix of dry conditions and wet conditions. So Strating heading towards the midst of sector 2 through this very tight complex, a hairpin in second gear. Has to get a good exit out for the DRS straight. Dutch angle into a 104.7 cumulative between sectors 1 and 2. And now for what there used to be a complex, he's invalidated. So Strating has invalidated this lap. So the Mercedes of Boaks will be completing. Oh, that's not Boaks. Racing Uncle will be the first one to set a lap time. If he doesn't invalidate the last few corners, is getting slightly blocked by Strating just a little bit. Would not appreciate that, I wonder. We'll come across the line. So 130. Boaks will come across the line now, and it'll be a 131.4. And then the next car to come across the line will be, I believe, geez, who is coming across the line? It's kind of a mix. Let's go through. I believe, okay. Zorowski in sector. Where's that? Oh god, sector 1. Singapore looks all the same. Honestly, I can't tell. I don't think anybody's on the proper lap at the moment. Rain in Singapore, eh? Yep, rain in Singapore. Okay, so I've completely lost my train of thought here. Viperize gets the fastest lap with a 30.5 in the Ferrari. The Group 3 driver taking provisional pole, but that means 17 other drivers as it's a qualifying lap just yet. You don't need to be the fastest in Q1, you just need to get out of the bottom 5. And when I say that, yeah, I don't know how I'm supposed to pronounce your name. VCC in the Sauber with a 130.5 as well, in the new Sauber livery, or I guess relatively new Sauber livery that just came out of the game. And Zorowski with a 129.4, it's 1.1 seconds faster than Viperize at the moment. One of the championship contenders, the Aston Martin driver, almost half spinning. Okay, let's go to one of the Hasses, which is Adam. Comes across the lines to 29.6, 2 tenths behind Zorowski. And Tristan in the other Haas, his teammate, comes across with a 128.8. The first driver to head into the 128. It's impressive. Gets out of the way of the V-carb. And currently he's leading in terms of Q1. Bartu Kutu Kalan in the Ferrari goes up into third with a 29.5. Mark 10 in fifth with a 29.7. Where's my Senzu in 28.8. Bench warmer, the Aston Martin teammate of Zorowski with a 29.4. Almost identical lap times between the two Aston Martin drivers. A lot of drivers now completing their laps. Let's go not to Kendricks, who we got vacant in 17th at the moment. As of 04.4 at the end of Sector 2. Where can vacant in the Williams car get up to? One other driver has just completed a lap. I believe that's during Jamie with a 129.996. But vacant will come across the line now, be a 129.8. Puts him into 8th place. And who else will be completing a lap? Kendricks, we got Asian in Sector 1. Kendricks in the midst of Sector 2. This tight hairpin, it's not an easy corner to get right. And it's an 05.5. It's slower than we've seen with the rest of the drivers here. And that's a Haas out. And Tristan has been disqualified for going the wrong way. That has put him into last place. We saw a Haas go off track when we were watching Kendricks just after Sector 2. As Kendricks will come across the line, it will put him into 13th with a 30.8. But that means the person who looked to be the fastest has just been disqualified from the session, and he will be starting last out of everybody. Not ideal for the Haas at all. Asian Persuasion will come across the line now. Opens up DRS, puts him into 8th with a 29.9. Surprisingly close lap times in the midfield. And it could only get even closer, to be fair. But that has major complications for how Tristan wanted to go about this race. Going too deep into the runoff, tried to reverse out of the runoff areas, and that made the game disqualify him. And that is it for his qualifying. He's got to wait, like, what is it, 30 minutes now until the race starts. Avenue OK is one of 3 drivers to not set a lap just yet. 4 drivers if you count starting. Speaking of starting, Rose, he's invalidated again. Was supposed to be on the lap, but never mind, he's going straight into the pits. Kendricks continuing on this lap attempt. He just was on the fast lap, and he does improve by 1 second, pretty much, with a 29.8. A good lap for Kendricks. Crosses the line in 7th. So let's go back to the McLaren of Avenue OK on 04.6. When you add sectors 1 and 2, it's got the V-carb right in front, and that's Asian. Asian gets out of the way. Avenue OK will now come across the line now. What will this lap time be? It just needs to be enough to get out of the bottom 5. And it's 11th place with 30 dead. It's 11th. Would probably need to go out again. Chronomatic. Now on the fast one. Opens up the DRS into a potential overtaking zone for the race, although how easy it is to overtake through this section of corners is yet to be decided, as he is a bit tail happy on exit. We'll come through the final corner now. Opens up overtake on DRS, and it's only 13th with a 30.3. He will have to go again. I do need to refresh the yellow flags. There's yellow flags in sectors 1 and 2. And Strakosaur is the final driver that needs that lap time in the middle of sector 1. Other drivers on particular laps right now. Let's go to Ozan, who is half a tenth down on his lap time. Will not be improving and will go straight into the pits, I believe. Viperize just behind. With Want to be a bit more safe, goes into the pits. Racing Uncle. Ooh, brushing the wall. And is this an improvement? He's currently 1/10 down, 3/4 of a tenth down his lap time. A lot of drivers not improving at the moment, or maybe they were on their in laps. Probably on their in laps, to be fair. As Racing Uncle will not be completing this lap. And who's that? I believe that's the Alpine. The Strakosaur will come across the line, goes into 14th, pushes VCC into the bottom 5. It's a 30.4. So let's see how VCC will respond. He is 6 tenths up on his lap time. We'll go through the final corner now. Is in the bottom 5. Oh, goes perilously close to the track limits, and it's a 29.966. It puts him into 10th. Comfortable so far, but it's a second guess. And as Bartu comes across the line to go into first place, Bartu Kutakalan in the Ferrari with 29.3. Starting has not set a representative lap so far in this qualifying sessions. 10 seconds slower than 18th. 18th. Needs to get a board on the a lap time on the board as soon as possible. I need to. Excuse me while I take a small little drink. They need to fix that. If you spin them facing the wrong way, you're basically screwed. Yeah. But that was, I believe, referring to Tristan, who was disqualified. Starting. The first person to go on the flying lap had it invalidated. Has to go out again. How much time is there left? There's just constant yellow flags. I can't see how much time there is left in this qualifying session. And he is 7.7 seconds up on his lap time, to nobody's surprise. And starting. Needs to complete this lap. Nope, he doesn't. He goes straight into the pits, and there is around 4 minutes left to go in this qualifying session. So, who else is on the lap at the moment? Adam is currently a 10th up on his lap time. Currently in 4th place. Pretty much comfortable. He doesn't really need to go again. And now he's almost 2 tenths up, and that will be enough for second. But if he can push just a little bit more, just over a tenth, you can get into first. For bragging rights, considering there's no reason. Will come across the line now, stays in overtake through the last corner, using all the track. And he does go 2 and a bit tenths faster, and it puts him into third. Benchwarmer currently at the beginning of his lap. Ozan going wide on his qualifying attempt. Strakosaur in the bottom 5 will go out again on another lap. Chronomatic out on an out lap. And the Mercedes of Boaks in 15th is very close to the drop zone at the moment. He needs to improve by just... He actually just needs to get better at his lap time to go ahead of Codematic, because Codematic and Boaks both have the exact same lap time in Q1 as he abandons this lap time and cuts across that chicane. So who is completing a lap at the moment? Ozan did invalidate. The Aston Martin, a bench warmer. How much can he improve? Bench warmer having a decent amount of qualifying laps at the moment. Takes a shallow line, will come across the line, and it's almost 4 attempts. It is 4 attempts improvement. And he has a 29 dead. An extremely fast lap for the Aston Martin. It puts him to first place. Wow. Adam goes into the pits. Folks did not improve on that, as Viperize is on the outlap at the moment, and the Renault, the Strachosaur, yep, he's going... Is he going to the pits, or will he try again? He goes into the pits, but is there enough time in this qualifying session for him to get out of Q1? He does have front wing damage, and he blocks the pit lane slightly, reverses, and is, I don't know what he's doing, honestly. As we have... Most drivers are currently out on outlaps at the moment, even though most of them are pretty comfortable, to say the least. Apart from the Red Bull Codematic, as I believe one of the drivers just put themselves up into the top 10. Didn't notice who that was, unfortunately, and that puts Codematic into the drop, well, very close to the drop zone. Strachosaur retires in the garage. Will not be going out again. Will start at least 17th. So let's have a close eye. Boaks needs to cross the line. The 10 seconds left of qualifying. If he doesn't do this, no, he's not going to go out to do another lap. He is out of Q1. Viperize in 18th. Needs to have a good lap to get out of the drop zone and put Codematic into the drop. And he does. It's just enough to get into 14th. Starting 8.1 seconds improvement on his lap time. This is the only lap that he can do to get out. And what will the V-Carb driver do? The V-Carb in 19th. As Codematic improves up into 6th place. Can Starting improve? Yes, he goes into 5th. And that means... Can Ozan improve? Ozan in the drop zone in 17th. Needs to improve, and that puts Avdiok in danger as well. So if Ozan in the Williams will come across the line now, and Ozan will go up. He does improve, but it's not enough, and that means Avdiok is safe. He doesn't need to complete this lap time, which is good because he wasn't improving at all. And that means that the drivers that are out in Q1 are Viperize. Avdiok does improve. He had a mega final sector with 3 attempts. He was down in his lap time by 20 thousandths of a second. And Jeroen Jamie in the McLaren goes up into 3rd place. Very good laps for them. And the Sauber doesn't need to improve. So the Q1 exits are Viperize in the Ferrari, Ozan in the Williams, Boaks in 18th, Strachosaur in 19th, and Tristan, who got disqualified after putting a lap that is still enough to go into 1st place in Q1, is in plumb last. Alright, going straight into Q2. I do wonder how many drivers used up their tyres, because it was... A lot of people went out for like 3 qualifying laps when they've got another 2 sessions left to go. So now we're waiting for VCC and the Sauber to be towed into the garage. And I will be back for Q2. Ooh, what's this camera angle? I don't use this camera angle. Anyway. Alright. There it is. And Benchwarmer in first place ahead of Barty Kutakalan. But we're going straight into 15 minutes of another qualifying session. It's raining, but it's not pouring just yet enough for drivers to go out on inters because it is dry tyres for everybody. Everybody's coming out thick and fast to try to go out. Kodamatic is in the garage with inters, but I imagine he's trying to go out on soft as quick as possible because Strating is the first person to get out of the pits on the soft compound tyres. This may be the one and only time the drivers can get a dry tyre lap in, because the rain is falling. It's not falling thick and fast, just a few drops of rain here and there. But the last cars that will be coming out of the pits will have a major disadvantage to the front cars, such as Strating and Adam, who are currently leading the pack at the moment, and a few drivers not coming out of the pits, and Kodamatic is coming out on intermediates. You can't help but just feel like that is a tyre blunder. And Asian Persuasion also not coming out of the pits at all. It could... Oh! As Strating hits the wall! Not enough for damage, I believe. Not any visible damage that we can see on the broadcast. But it was a hit. And you can see that the grip is slowly getting away from these drivers out on track. Everybody now on an outlap, with Asian Persuasion slightly behind the rest at the moment. Alright, let me just do something quick. There we go. Okay, perfect. So, Strating will begin the lap. How wet is it? Will we see a few errors out on track? The V-carb already invalidates the lap, and that means he won't be completing this one, unfortunately. Adam now is the de facto leader in terms of who is out on qualifying laps. Gets a bit slidey into entry of turn 4, but nonetheless he continues on. Let me just... Sorry about this. Oh dear. Okay. Right. Back to the action now. A few gaps in between everyone. I imagine a few people invalidating or hitting a few walls on entry and exit. Adam has had a decently clean lap so far visually, considering the fact that it's getting more slick. Ooh, on the exit you can see the Aston Martin just behind doing exactly the same. It's a 112. It is 8 seconds slower compared to what lap times they were doing in Q1 when you combine both sectors 1 and 2 together, and that means it is clearly not dry enough to even match. I mean, nobody was expecting times to match ones in Q1. So that means Adam will come across the line. That's why everybody used their soft tires, because nobody expected for the soft tires to be good in Q2 and Q3. And it's a 40.2, and that's the benchmark, as the Aston Martin doesn't complete the lap. Who is the other Aston Martin behind? Zeros? That's not Zeroski. Benchwarmer not doing a lap as well. A few drivers now coming into the pits. How many drivers are going to complete their laps? Mach 10 will complete this one. DRS is disabled. It's a 43. So, and Codematic does go fastest. So the intermediates are now faster, to say the least. 40.0 Codematic. As you see everybody now piling in on the soft compound tires, going, well, 2-3 seconds slower compared to the intermediates, which now shows that the advantage belongs to these. I don't know what I'm saying anymore, but nevertheless, it wasn't dry enough for dry compound tires like the softs, and everybody will be slowly making their way back to the garages to bolt on the green wall tire. Right, let's see. Nobody's going to be completing their laps now, so it's a small trek back. But let's view on the people who are on the slicks, and I believe Swarovski is perhaps trying to do a lap, or they're going to be pulling into the pits. Swarovski is going to complete this lap, but it's by no means challenging Codematic, as it's almost 6 seconds slower as he spins into the pit wall. And it's front wing damage. Luckily he has enough time to get back into the garage. But it's 6 seconds slower. And Tokyo drifting through turns 2 and 3. So now let's go to what tyres everybody is on. Racing Uncle, Vacant Haddock, Batu Kutakalan, all out on intermediates now. All pitted during their soft tyre lap attempts. So very early. You wonder how heavy this rain could get, and when the intermediates will be at their peak. As Adam did have a good enough lap time to come across the line with a 40.6 on the soft compound tires, but that was coming out ahead of everybody else and starting and validating. Speaking of starting, he goes out into the intermediate tires. The road skate track crashed again. We catch that, unless you're talking about again. So, Vacant Haddock will be starting a lap in the Williams. Oh, drifting on exit. Going into the relatively fast right-hander of turn 5, turn 4. How competitive will this lap time be compared to Codematics? How fast will it be? The benchmark is a 40.0. I should probably remove that and remove that. Oh, going slightly wide. Very close to hitting the wall on the outside. Doesn't. And now we'll be going into the hairpin in first gears. Got the Haas of Adam right ahead on an outlap, so won't be interfering. It's a 15.1 in sector combining sectors 1 and 2. The Williams locking up slightly into entry, but will come across the line now. It won't be a particularly fast lap attempt. He's already 2 seconds down the fastest intermediate tyres at 44, and that puts him up into 6. Who's next to come across the line? It is Bartu. It's Bartu. Bartu comes across the line with a 43.1. And Kendricks, I can't believe it. Kendricks did set a lap time pretty early on the softs. It is 42.9. Nobody's catching up to the soft tyre runners. 44.3 for Racing Uncle. The Sauber of VCC, and that's not. I thought he was going to complete a lap. Who is out on the proper lap at the moment? Codomatic starts 1. Avenue is even Jeroen Jamie. Jeroen Jamie will be the next one to come across the line to finish this qualifying attempt. But now we're seeing all the intermediate times. Codomatic, Adam seem to be very safe at the moment. And Kendricks, you could argue the same as well, because the fastest inter-lap times that we've had in the last few minutes is Bartu Kutakaran with a 43.1, as Jeroen Jamie comes across the line in only 10th with a 44.9, just ahead of his teammates by 4 tenths. As Strating has invalidated once again. VCC will come across the line now. And what will VCC do? What can he do? It's counting. It's a 44.5. Puts him into 10th again. The drop zone filled with 2 McLarens, 2 Aston Martins, and a V-Carb at the moment. Benchwarmer. One of those people in the bottom 5 will take the shallow line, crossing the line with a 45.1. It's only 12th so far. Strating has invalidated on this lap as well. Well, has Avenue OK improved? No, he is doing another fast lap right now. Is in the bottom 5. Can the McLaren with worse condition now go straight into the pits. Codomatic is currently 10 seconds slower at the moment. Jeroen Jamie not on a lap. Benchwarmer. But non-ERS, I don't believe he is on the lap at the moment. Yeah, he's not. So, we're waiting. There's 3 minutes, just under 3 minutes left of Q2 left to go. 2 McLarens, 2 Aston Martins and the V-Carb. Filling the bottom 5. I'm repeating myself again. But it's getting wetter and wetter. You can see that just on how much spray there is at the moment compared to the first few minutes of Q2. So it may be very likely that the lap times, as they are going to stay exactly the same or getting worse. Benchwarmer trying his hardest to go through turns 1 to 3 as quickly as he can, but it's getting close to wet conditions. And this is inters, and he's pushing that Aston Martin to its limit and over it as well. Can this be an improvement at all? It won't be. It's 4.5 tenths down. And the drivers that seemed to be hopeful, if this qualifying session was dry, they were in the top 5 together. The 2 Aston Martins are now wallowing where they won't be even challenging for pole at all. Oh dear. A minute left to go. Adam did retire from the session. One of the first drivers to be out of the garages when Q2 started is paying dividends for the Haas driver. Starting will come across the line to start a lap again with 47.6. Zorosuke is improving on the 45.6, but it's not much of an improvement, you can say. Early for Q2. As Zorosuke will come across the line for a 3/4 of a tenth improvement, but it's not enough to improve on position, and definitely not enough to get out. Mark 10 invalidating, Senzu not improving. That's what an unusual grid, that's what you can say when mixed conditions are involved in Q2. Now it's officially fully wet, or just on the brink of wet, I can imagine, for the final session in Q3. I don't really know what the weather radar is looking like. It could just say intermediates. But that means at the end of this qualifying session, you have the two McLarens, Jamie and Anthony OK in 11th and 13th, the two Aston Martins in 12th and 14th, and Strating, who wasn't able to complete a lap. He is improving, but it's not too much of an improvement, in 15th place. I wish this was Q3 SMH. Yeah, I can imagine. Strating will be able to complete this lap. Will it improve on position? It won't be. Even though it's a 1.2 second improvement, it's still 15th. Yep, nobody in the bottom 5 is improving, and that will be it. We're waiting for the two Aston Martins and the McLaren of Anthony OK to get back into their garages, and we can have a wet Q3 session. LSR in P. Alright, we're just waiting for the two Aston Martins to retire from the session, and then we can get into Q3. Oh, that's my controller. Jesus. It does that when it goes into garages. Jeez. Anyway. Could be wet conditions for Q3. Could it be intermediates? I can't see. I don't know if there is. I do need to check if there's any discussions about that in the Discord. Right. Okay. It seems everything is relatively calm. And you can see there's a mix of who qualified through on intermediates and who qualified through on softs. 5 drivers going through on softs, 5 drivers going through on inters. Kodomatic in first, Adam in second. This is going to be an interesting Q3. Who will get pole position in the wets? I do wonder. Okay, moment of truth. It's raining. It's now pouring. And the wait for Q3. Who will get pole position? What tyres is everyone going to go on? It's intermediates. Has everyone... It depends who put on the dry setup and who put on the wet setup. Considering the fact that the race is apparently mixed conditions as well, it could just be a hybrid. And the Red Bull of either Codematic or Senzu is going to go out of their garage. And who would that be? It's not Senzu, it is Codematic. And the Ferrari of Barty Kutikalan joins Codematic as well. Now, more drivers are pouring out of the pits. You have the Williams of Vacant now out. The Alpine of Kendricks also following. Adam and the other Red Bull of Senzu out on track, and the Mercedes of Racing Uncle joining. And the two Saubers, which you don't often see in Q3 in real life, with Mach 10 and VCC also pouring out. These two guys are battling, Senzu and Adam. This isn't the race, guys. And there was a very much a chance of danger between a collision, but hey. Let's go down to the Red Bull of Codematic, who leads the pack for an outlap. Where's the Red Bull in his camera angle? There it is. BCC not going out of the pits at the moment. Codematic will lead the charge now. Starts his first lap. Got first place in Q2. While the track was slick, but still dry enough for some soft tyre runners to get some laps in. The intermediates were a good choice in the first part of Q2. Can he match his form on this lap? No DRS through the straight. 30.5 in sector 1. An extremely long lap at the Marina Bay. BCC still not coming out of the pits just yet. At the moment. Codematic going through an extremely tough set of corners, especially on intermediates. .8 when you combine the last two sectors. And the Red Bull will be the first one to set the benchmark. Through the final corner. And it will be a 1:43.4. It's a good lap. Where will Barty Kutikalan come? It will be a 42.6. It is an 8 tenths improvement on Codematic's lap time. Vacant. No, I missed that. Vacant will go with 43.5. The Alpine of 44.6. Senzu 44.1. They're flying thick and fast. Asian Persuasion will come across the line with a 43 dead, and that is enough to put him into the France row. Holy hell. Adam, not enough, as Racing Uncle goes up into 7th. Mach 10 in 8th. So Bartu with a 42.6. 4 attempts faster than Asian Persuasion. Adam is now, I suspect, the only driver out on the flying lap at the moment. Has got the V-carb of Asian Persuasion in front. Gets out of the way, fortunately for him. Yellow flags. Oh, that's Asian just pulling to the side. Adam has been decently quick so far in this qualifying session. In the top 5 in Q1. In second place in Q2. But is this pace good enough on the completely wet track? It's a 13.2 in Sector 2. That is decently quick. Apparently, according to the game, it's enough for purple. But this game can lie sometimes. We can only truly know. As Kendricks in the Alpine with 42.3, I did not expect to see that coming, and that's enough for provisional pole position. Adam will come across the line now. This will be an improvement. Oh my goodness me, it's enough for 41.3. And it's an improvement by 9 tenths compared to Kendricks. The Haas driver firmly in pole position contention. And it seems like to me that the track is getting drier. I don't know if that's placebo, but it definitely seems like there's less raindrops falling compared to Q3. Or Q2, I mean. BCC finally goes out for his first flying lap attempt. The Sauber driver has been waiting until 5 minutes remain to do a proper lap. It's a 30.2 for the Sauber in Sector 1. The Sauber driver has been waiting a while. Bartu goes into first place with almost, jeez, a 39.2. It's a 3.3 seconds improvement for the Ferrari, and that puts him 2 seconds faster than Adam at the moment. Wow. A 13.4 for VCC. Senzu, I didn't realise that. It goes into second place, my bad. It's a 3.6 second improvement. Yeah, this track is getting drier. BCC will come across the line now, and it will be a good lap time. It puts him ahead of his teammate, goes into 4th with a 41.9. As we look towards Racing Uncle's on an outlap, Conematic on an outlap. Who is on the lap at the moment? Vacant is. He's improved by a second in Sector 1. Further improvements can happen in Sector 2. Needs a great exit out for what used to be the DRS straight, no longer anymore in the wet conditions. It's a 2.1 second improvement, and that would be so far with a 41.4, and that would be enough to get into the top 4. I've said that would be enough too many times in that sentence, but nevertheless, the track is drying. The optimal time to get out of the pits will be the final minute of the session. To do a proper lap, I mean, not to get out of the pits. Comes across the line with 41.4. It is top 4, 2.1 seconds. Great lap for the Williams. Racing Uncle, Codematics starting their flyers. Mach 10 has spun on the last corner on exit, gets back going again, doesn't seem to have any visible damage, so it's a lucky escape. It's unknown if he can do another one actually, it's going to be extremely close. Bartu will retire from the session, he thinks that's good enough, won't be able to do another lap again. 39.2 is 1.3 seconds faster than Senzu at the moment. Racing Uncle. Currently in P10. Heading. It's a 3.8 second improvement. The track has looked drier than it has been in quite a while. 3.8 seconds. That's enough to get into the 40s and potentially third place. Further improvements through these corners. Maybe it could be enough to get into pole. But it could be extremely tough. As he comes across the line now, it will be a 39.7. It's a 5-second improvement, and that puts him to second. That means that the danger that Bartu thought he was safe definitely isn't now. Senzu will come across the line. And will it be enough? It is not enough. It's a 39.8. Asian Persuasion. 2.7 seconds worth of improvement. Comes across the line. It is enough! It's a 39.1 and he goes fastest. The V-Carb driver currently taking provisional pole position. Kendricks has gone for a gamble on the soft compound tyres. This could be a sterling lap if he can get it done. The only driver to even attempt it, as there is 2 seconds on the clock. That's it. That's Q3 over. No drivers can complete their laps when they come across the line. So can start their flying laps when they come across the line now, I mean. Kendricks. He went for a completely bold strategy when everyone went on the intermediate tyres. Will Sector 1 go? Oh, it's not an improvement. On his inter-lap time so far, it's a 1.5 tenth difference. Could it possibly be dry enough into Sector 2? That car isn't particularly happy on throttle at the moment. It's not looking too good. But never say never. Adam goes fastest! I've completely missed that. It's a 38.5. Into pole position for the Haas driver. Wow. Senzu not doing another lap. Vacant not doing another lap. Mach 10 is on the lap. He's got 3 cars ahead of traffic. Doesn't want to see this at all. Coming into the final sector. That's one of the V-Cubs getting out of the way. That is Asian. And now the Sauber driver will come across the line. Will it be an improvement? It is an improvement by 1.5 seconds. That is 8th place. Kendricks has improved on his lap time. It's 1.9 seconds worth of improvement. He comes across the line. It's only enough for 2nd place. The gamble on a soft tyre has worked. Enough to be 2nd place. He gained a lot of lap time in Sector 2 and 3. DRS now is enabled. Sector 1 wasn't just wasn't enough, but considering the fact that it was pretty much wet by the time he started his lap, 2nd place. The gamble did pay off for Kendricks. Wow. Adam. 38.5. So that is your grid for today's race. Adam in 1st, Kendricks in 2nd, Asian Persuasion in 3rd, Kodamatic in 4th, Bartu Kutakalan, who retired pretty early, thought he had pole in the bag, in 5th place, Racing Uncle in 6th, Senzu in 7th, Vacant in 8th, Mach 10 in 9th, BCC in 10th place. And now we wait. So there will be 5 minutes of downtime for drivers to change their setups of the car. It looks to be raining. Change their strategy, change their fuel, etc, etc. And we will be waiting. Everybody seems to be starting on the intermediates. And this grid is completely mixed up. Championship leaders in the bottom 10. Tristan in 20th. Zeroske in 14th. And this could be an entertaining 31 laps of the Marina Bay circuit. Considering that this is one of the longest races on the calendar. I was expecting it to be a little bit of a, well, a drawl, if that even is a word. That's more of a descriptor, if anything. But nonetheless, it could be interesting to see who gets first place. A few exciting drivers lining up on the grid in positions where they don't want to be. And Marina Bay has 3 DRS zones, a couple of overtakes. Is it 3 or 4? I believe it may be 4. Oh, no, it's only 3, I think. So we're gonna wait. I'm gonna take a small little break. I'll be right back. As 5 lights begin, well, the drivers. What is happening here? It's lights out of the way we go as Straker gets a jump start. Viperize also gets a jump start as well. Both reacting at the same time. What has happened there? I just managed to get just before the 5 lights started. Viperize leading the race with a driver penalty. Adam in second. Kendricks in third. Age Persuasion now in 4th place. Goes ahead of Codomatic in 5th. Barty Kutakana in 6th. And apart from the Ferrari that isn't supposed to be leading, he is in 1st place at the moment. Adam is, as Asian Persuasion is catching up to Kendricks supremely fast. Doesn't go for the overtake on this particular occasion. Kendricks going slightly wide as well as Barty Kutikanan. And underway we go. Mach 10 gaining a couple of places. The fight between the Aston Martins and the McLaren has just started. Jerome Jamie leading the faction as the McLaren tries to go down the inside of Benchwarmer, isn't able to. But let's focus back up into 4th place at the moment because Asian Persuasion front wing to rear wing starting retires and has left the session, crashing into the wall. Intermediates to intermediates. So it's a typical one-stop strategy, I believe, if it won't turn dry or even wetter, let's say. The Viperize will need to serve that driver penalty at some point, as Codomatic has now gained up on the V-Carb of Asian Persuasion. What can... Oh, no, what... I need an invite back. This is not what I wanted. I've disconnected. So optimal. Why has that happened then? Sorry, I'm gonna need an invite back. Let me just screen. I need an invite. Someone. Sorry for the small intermission because, well, got lagged out of the lobby. Now we're just waiting for an invite from either lobby leaders or people who are in the race at the moment, which they're in the heat of the battle for, which I'm not surprised that, you know, I'm still waiting here, so that's all good. Oh dear, it looked to be an exciting one. Shame that we'll leave and... Oh, actually, I'm just trying to wait. Is this in... Guessing what? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna be waiting here for a while. So, we're back from an unplanned intermission. I do apologise wholeheartedly because of that. But we are back in the race. And we have Adam leading ahead of Bartu. Meanwhile, while we were gone, it does look like it would be dry tyres for everybody. A few drivers now coming into the pits. It is lap 9 out of 31 here at the Marina Bay circuit. Adam, Bartu coming in, Codomatic also coming in. Vacant stays out. Still on the intermediates. He still thinks that he needs to go for another lap further. Asian in 11th place at the moment. Currently the leading car out of all the dry tyre runners. Kendrick's just behind in 12th place. But where will Asian come out? Has a fastest sector 3. Now in 5th, behind Codomatic, behind Bartu. So Vacant now the lonely driver on the intermediates, making his way through sector 2, snaking his way 16.8 seconds ahead of Adam. There's yellow flags. Now they've cleared because there's a fight in 12th place between the McLaren of Anthony O'Kear's. Bartu gets a 3-second time penalty, and Tristan on warmer medium compound tyres, fighting the McLaren at the moment. And Tristan gets the move done, goes slightly wider, but he gets it done. He's got a time penalty though. Let's look at the time penalties actually. The time penalties: 3 seconds for Bartu, 3 seconds for Senzu, 6 seconds for Benchwarmer, 3 seconds for Tristan, and 3 seconds for Zorowski. Okay, interesting. So, now it is completely dry. And will Vacant come in on this lap? No, he soldiers on. You can't help but think. But he has improved. He has improved, don't mind that. Like if you look at that, he has improved on his current lap time. Very impressive job. Adam, after Vacant pits, is the de facto race leader. Ahead is Bartu. Behind is Bartu. Codomatic in 4th. Asian Persuasion in 5th place. Kendricks gets the fastest lap of the session. 5 tenths, splitting Alpine and the V-Carb. DRS is now officially enabled, which means that it is prime time for Vacant to come in. Vacant is still halfway through sector 2, so any longer on his intermediates he will be losing time to the cars behind. And Kendricks, this is the closest battle out on track, and it is for a top 5 position. What can the Alpine do as Tristan gets ahead of Mach 10, as Ozan gets the fastest lap now with 41.8. Tristan going up a couple of places, started 20th, now in 12th. Benchwarmer now has 9 seconds total worth of time penalties. A 3-second time penalty added on now, added on to 6. Kendricks will have the assistance of DRS going onto this straight. It's relatively short compared to the next one. An Asian 2.3 seconds behind Codomatic at the moment. Kendricks has the fastest tyre. Vacant finally goes into the pits. Medium compound tyres, but these mediums won't last long. The rest on hard compound tyres could make it to the end of the race on the 1-stop. Adam, Bartu gets the fastest lap of the session. Adam goes into the lead. Bartu now just under a second behind. Vacant will be slowly making out of the pits. Bartu gets another 3-second time penalty. That's 6 seconds. Where will Vacant come out? He will be behind Kendricks, but will be ahead of Senzu. Senzu now coming through the first corner, sees Vacant just peel away. And Vacant is now in a comfortable P6. A little bit of no man's land, does see the Alpine of Kendricks just a little bit ahead. But Bartu, even with 6 seconds worth of time penalties, let me just double check that. Oh Jesus. Okay. So, why is my Something's happening because it's pulling up on my controller. Now it's stopped. Okay. So let me just interval. Let's go. Okay. Bar 2. Time penalties. Half a second behind race leader. All Adam needs to do is keep his cool because he knows that Bar 2 is at an immense disadvantage here. Kutikalan opening up the DRS. Ever so close to that rear. And we'll open up DRS again. This could be a prime overtaking opportunity. Does deploy overtake. But it doesn't seem like that this is an overtaking move into the last sector. Strakosol gets the fastest lap with 39.9 on the medium compound tyres. As we go again for round number 13. Bar 2. Fastest lap, 39.3. As Avenue OK fights with Tristan. Tristan losing a place somewhere. Has front wing damage, Tristan does. So something must have happened on that previous lap. But let's focus on the battle for the lead. Because Bar 2 doesn't have that much ERS to work with. And will stay behind once again. Let's see how the fight between P5 and 4 will pan out. Same here. Tristan goes into the pits to fix his front wing damage at the moment. Avenue OK is right behind Benchwarmer. Benchwarmer looking to go slightly defensive. Lets McLaren on the inside. And Benchwarmer goes for the switchback. Attempts it. But it doesn't work out. Jeroen Jamie. Same tyres, same age to the Red Bull out in front. Senzu's got a 3-second time penalty. Jamie doesn't have that restriction. There's a yellow flag at the hairpin. Who is that? That is one of the V-Cubs, I believe. I believe that was Asian Persuasion. He's now lost 2 positions at the hairpin, losing position to both Vacant and Kendricks. A mistake there, perhaps, for the V-Cub. The man who qualified in 2nd place. Jeroen Jamie and Senzu are fighting out, and they both go off the track. Senzu pushing the McLaren into the wall. And Jamie has to go into the pit lane now. Oh dear. Bar 2 still hunting down the Haas. Not enough. Racing Uncle now within DRS of VCC. There is a potential gain here for 8th place. Not this time, however. 3-4 attempts splitting 1st and 2nd. Benchwarmer gets to 10-second time penalty for crossing the pit lane on exit, and that's 19 seconds worth of time penalties, I believe. That is yeah, not ideal in the slightest. Yeah, 19 seconds worth of time penalties for Benchwarmer. But the Ferrari using all of its ERS to stay behind the Haas. And Bar 2 biding his time behind Adam. Vacant now goes for the overtaking move on Kendricks. Pitting later has paid dividends for the Williams driver. On 2-lap-old hards, overtakes the 5-lap-old mediums. And Vacant, now in 4th place, hunting down Codomatic in the podium places. Racing Uncle deploys DRS. Avenue OK now within DRS as well. The fight for the lead is still raging on, but I believe Bar 2 is just hanging behind as Zorowski gets a 3-second time penalty. Mach 10. Something's happened between Mach 10 and Zorowski because Mach 10 is right at the pit wall. Zurowski did get a 3-second time penalty, so something definitely must have happened there as Racing Uncle and VCC are fighting out. Racing Uncle is forced out wide, and VCC loses the position compared to Racing Uncle. But Racing Uncle does seem to have front wing damage. Racing Uncle letting VCC through, but that allows Avenue OK to catch up very quickly as Mac 10 is losing positions very fast. Mac 10 has lost his entire front wing. Oh dear. Yeah, an incident definitely happened between the two cars. Mac 10 forcing himself to get onto the runoff area and doing another spin to get out of that. Another lap ticks down, 16. And Bartu using all of the ERS he can as Boaks loses a position, goes off track, Benchwarmer overtakes, and Boaks gets a 3-second time penalty. Now a 3-car battle in the lower points places. The Sauber, the Mercedes and the McLaren all snaking their ways through turns 1 to 3. Racing Uncle, mind you, does have a bit of front wing damage, so it's surprising that he is able to still keep up with the Sauber in front. Racing Uncle deploying DRS as Benchwarmer gets the fastest lap of the session. And Racing Uncle will go heating down the inside, and they both go wide, and that allows Avenue OK to overtake VCC. And Racing Uncle stays in 8th. There's no way he can give that position back now. Racing Uncle heating down the inside as Mark 10 retires from the session, unsurprisingly, in the pits after losing his front wing at the start of this race. Not at the start of the previous lap, I mean. So Avenue OK has a semi-crippled Mercedes in front. Otters, dude, this is equal performance. Every car has equal performance, so any car can get into the pole, into the first ranks, as Avenue OK goes through on Racing Uncle in 8th place. Avenue OK now in 8th place. Now needs to look ahead to Senzu, who has a time penalty at the moment. Starting crashed on the first lap, disconnected early on. Mac 10 just retired after losing his front wing. So, as Asian Persuasion and Kendricks are fighting out for position, Asian Persuasion, who lost a lot of time in the hairpin, doesn't seem to have damaged his car at all. Now getting back into 5th, but has a different opponent ahead in 4th place, Vacant. Has had a decent masterclass of strategy as Avenue OK is fighting with the Sauber. The Sauber not giving up. Avenue OK has lost a position to Racing Uncle. Something must have happened while we were looking at the fight between 5th and 6th, because Avenue OK seems to have lost considerable time to the Mercedes. So let's keep an eye on these lots as we head to 2 DRS straights. Bartu Kutakalan gets the fastest lap with 34.8. The track is getting faster and faster as McLaren deploys the DRS, but stays behind on this lap. As Ozan and Boaks swap positions, something happened there. Bartu has no ERS to work with to overtake the Haas, and still is right behind, pressuring the Haas with all he can, waiting for a potential mistake, but Adam has put a sterling drive to not let that pressure get to his mind, and he continues on. These guys have been so close to one another ever since coming out on the dry compound tyres. Let's go to Kendricks. 6 temps splits the two. Kendricks, even though on old medium compound tyres, he still is within DRS. BCC now no longer a part of the DRS train that was including the Mercedes and McLaren, so as Viperize gets the fastest lap. Remember that Strakosol and Viperize got drive-through penalties for jumping the start on lap 1. So they're all the way down in 17th and 18th. Very far behind the pack at the moment. Kendricks closing down, but no longer a move as there's a yellow flag in sector 2, and that is Ozan, who's gone off the runoff area and has to spin to get out of the runoff, and something must have happened there between him and Boaks, or Ozan went too wide because, oh, now he has front wing damage that he has to go back into the pits to fix. No safety cars just yet. Bartu has been staring at this rear wing for many a lap. Oh, clattering the barrier, the audio. But hey, I don't think that impacted in the slightest. The Ferrari, as over 50% of the race is done. The Ferrari not going for anything at the moment. So let's go down to Kendricks as Ozan goes into the pits, and Tristan goes ahead of Zarowski. The championship leaders are battling. Contenders, I mean. But, well, they're all the way down, not even fighting for points at the moment. Around 18 seconds behind P10 at the moment. So. Adam putting on a very strong drive as they get back onto the DRS, but it just doesn't feel like he's going to go for the move, and will stay behind once again as Kendricks goes into the pits to get off of the mediums and get back onto another set of mediums to go to the end. Did pretty well, but there is a very likely chance that the hard tyre runners are going to go to the end of this race. So Avni okay. Half a tenth. Racing Uncle has still got the pace, considering the fact that he has that front wing damage on the left end plate. That left end plate is missing, by the way. There's not even damage, it's gone. So it's a miracle that Racing Uncle was able to still stay ahead of the McLaren. As Zarowski and Boaks come into the pits to put onto another set of medium compound tyres. As Ozan gets a 3-second time penalty for cutting or leaving the track. Avni okay. Opening up the DRS. Not going for any sort of overtake as Bartu has lost 2 seconds. 2.8 seconds to Adam. They were right next to each other, back to front, but Bartu has lost a lot of time. So lap 21 as Avni okay will come into the pits, and I assume will be another set of medium compound tyres. Boaks gets another 3-second time penalty for cutting the track as VCC in the Sauber coming into the pits as well, and that promotes Benchwarmer up to 8th, Kendricks up to 9th. Kendricks is now going to be on the tear with these mediums. Can the two-stop really work out with 10 laps left to go? After overtaking Benchwarmer, he needs to gain 12 seconds to catch up to 7th. But this guy has been very quick on race pace throughout the entire season. Understated driver. of the race so far as Bartu gets a 3-second time penalty. How many seconds does he have? 9 seconds. Yeah, wow. So Kendricks has the tyre advantage. Benchwarmer on 7-lap old hards. He's got a job to do. Ozan gets the fastest lap on the mediums with a 31.7. Kendricks will go down the inside of the Aston Martin. Ooh, there's contact! And Kendricks goes through. Kendricks now needs to catch up to Racing Uncle. 11 seconds. As Benchwarmer goes into the pits. I wonder if he did gain front wing damage from that contact with Kendricks, either from the actual or hitting the wall. What will this be? Or is this just a scheduled pit stop? It is just a... There's a... Oh yeah, he needs to serve his stop-go penalty for crossing the white line on exit. But nonetheless, we continue on. Adam, in the comfortable lead now, doesn't have to worry about Bartu or Kodamatic. Vacant in 4th place, 3.5 seconds behind Kodamatic. Would like to get a podium, as Zarowski gets a 31.1 fastest lap. Anthony OK behind his McLaren teammates of Jamie, as Jamie lets Anthony OK through. Both on different strategies. Jamie on 8-lap old mediums. Anthony OK says thank you, as Ozan retires from the session in the pit lane. So, now it's pretty calm. The two McLarens. Jamie is the only person to be within the RS range of the car in front. And, well, you've got to wait until something happens. Benchwarmer in 14th. Comes ahead of the Aston Martin of Zarowski. He's got Viperize ahead. It could be just a routine move for the Aston. There's a yellow flag in Sector 1, and that is one of... Oh wait, no, that is Ozan, who just came out of the pit lane. Oh! The Aston Martin will try to go round the outside, and we'll go side by side through the final corner, and he gets it done, but gets a 3-second time penalty as punishment for going outside. Committed to the move, respect. But, yeah, those time penalties racking up for Benchwarmer don't seem to be looking the greatest, to say the least. Wow. Zarowski now 4 tenths behind Viperize. And Zarowski will get the overtake done. The Aston Martins are next to one another, but I don't think they expected it to be this slow in Singapore. So Bartu now needs to look behind, because he has 9 seconds worth of time penalties and Kodamatic is only 12 seconds. Kodamatic needs to gain 3 seconds compared to Bartu in order to get 2nd place. Vacant 15 seconds behind Bartu. If Bartu gets another warning or time penalty, I mean just time penalty, he could lose 2nd place. So Senzu now within DRS range of Asian Persuasion. Senzu does have a time penalty, so even if this overtake gets done, all Asian has to do is stay within 3 seconds. So no, not that much of a big deal for Asian at the moment. Meanwhile, we've been talking about that. Vacant has slowly been catching Kodamatic Was 3.5 seconds, now only 3. Does see him just in front. And Kendricks has gained 9 seconds since the last time we catched up to him in lap 22. Behind Racing Uncle. The 2-stop, however, doesn't seem to be paying dividends at the moment because Kendricks is only 8th. As Senzu, the Asian Persuasion has now pitted. Senzu goes into P5. Where will Asian come out? There's 6 laps left to go, and is that a set of soft compound tyres? It is. He'll be the fastest at the end of this race, and he goes out behind Tristan and potentially behind Avni OK. He'll meet Avni OK on pit exit. And Avni OK goes through ahead of the V-car. Asian, now in 10th place, has a Sauber VCC just behind. Can Asian use the fastest tyres to get up into 8th, 7th? Very likely, honestly, with 6 laps left to go. On board of Asian, how do these tyres perform? Avni OK, no time penalty, but Tristan Head does have one. This tyre. He's got to be lightning quick. Opens up the DRS. Will he go for the move on this lap? No. But the tyre differential is so fast that Asian will catch up through the last corner and could get the move into turn 1. You don't often see a move on the start-finish straight, but it has just happened. And the next target is Tristan, with which I believe that, let's see what time penalty he has. Tristan got a 3-second time penalty as Kendricks gets ahead of Racing Uncle. Racing Uncle still doing a brilliant job considering the fact front wing damage. Kendricks now in 6th. Has to catch up to Senzu, but Senzu's got a time penalty, so 2 seconds is all he needs. As Zorosuke gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding to the pit lane and is retired from the session. As let's have a look at Asian, because Asian is on a tear. 2.3 seconds, but Avni OK is surprisingly still matched to pace. So, of the soft compound runner, but after Asian will inevitably overtake Tristan. As Avni OK, oh no! Locking up the rears. Tries to go for a late overtake. Oh, Avni OK, losing the rear, losing everything, and he spun out. On the straight, something has happened there. Oh dear. Tries to go for the move, hasn't panned out well. Tries to get on power, and something has happened there to make him spin. Is there like floor damage or what has happened there? Because, well, he is continuing on. But now in 11th place. Has that halted Asian's progress slightly? It has, because he's now 3.7 seconds behind instead of 2. And VCC being patient behind Asian at the moment. As we head into the final 4 laps of this race when Adam comes across the line, still in first. BCC, yeah, something's happened to Asian's car. It isn't the same as it was. As VCC goes in the DRS, will not go for a move on this lap. And just waiting behind. Vacant is now within 2 seconds of Codematic. If Vacant keeps this pace up, oh, goes wide slightly, as VCC gets ahead of Asian as Asian retires from the session in the pit lane. There must have been some unsolvable damage in that car, and Vacant retires. Unfortunate, because he was looking to get some points, but no longer wants to take part. But Vacant, 1.6 seconds. Oh, it could be a final grandstand finish for P3. Vacant is pushing that car to its limits, wheel spinning at the exit of the hairpin. But he is so close to tasting champagne. Catching up. Kendricks also within DRS range of Senzu, the other Red Bull. Kendricks has the advantage of newer medium compound tyres. And wow, Senzu is struggling. Kendricks doesn't particularly need to fight this. Senzu locking up quite a lot. 4 tenths, 3 tenths, splitting. Senzu doesn't want to fight this at all. Oh, Senzu tries to take the line, inside line, and is not able to fight Kendricks. Just a better, oh, as Kendricks lets Senzu past. Vacant has been the closest he has been this entire race to getting the podium. Codematic struggling on the rears. And it could be an overtake on this lap. Kendricks going side by side in the middle of sector 2 with Senzu, but Senzu concedes. Let's go back to Vacant. Codematic is on 2 lap older tyres. Vacant coming in late on those intermediates to go onto the hards. This strategy, if he gets Codematic, will bear fruit as we begin for them the penultimate lap. Going through the first corner, 4 free attempts. Senzu gets another 3-second time penalty, as Vacant will get a little bit hairy on exit, but will not be deploying any sort of overtake. Just staying patient behind the Red Bull, pressuring the Red Bull to make some sort of mistake. Vacant getting a bit sliding on the entry, but hey, it's perfectly fine. Codematic needs to put a defensive drive on the Sentry with a lap and a half to go. As we go through. Ooh, it's fine. As we see Vacant and Codematic right behind one another. Codematic deploying overtake. Vacant is saving up. It's got a lot of ERS to work with. This may just be a final lap overtake for Vacant if he does go for it, which I don't see a reason not to. Vacant is pushing that Williams so hard. You can visibly see the oversteer. And the final lap for these two drivers will begin very shortly. No, it has begun. As Vacant will try to go around the outside, turn 3, and there's contact. And Vacant and Codematic will go side by side into turn 4. Swapping places. Vacant will go down the inside. Who has the DRS? It was side by side, but at the entry, Codematic, Vacant, side by side. Who will it be? It's Vacant that has the DRS. No, neither have the DRS. Vacant tries to go down the inside. He makes it work. And Vacant currently now in the podium place. Codematic in 4th. But this fight isn't over just yet, because Codematic still has the will to fight. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2, and that's one of the Ferraris. I believe that's Viperize. Oh, this is Bart. Oh, Bart. Is it Bartu? I believe it was Viperize. But nevertheless, Vacant gets through on Codematic. And, well, unless Codematic can do a sterling overtake, let's focus back onto the lead, because Adam has been completely flawless throughout this entire race, and Adam will come across the line to win in Singapore. It's a great victory. The man who started on pole finishes on in first, and Bartu will come across the line to finish in second place. Vacant, who had a last lap overtake, battling throughout all of Sector 1, will come across the line spinning ahead of Bartu, and Codematic won't be fast enough to go into third place, and Kendricks will come away with a lonely fifth, because Senzu comes across the line with 20 lap old mediums, hards, and Racing Uncle also. A lot of people staying on the hard compound tyres when they pitted for off the inters. Racing Uncle going up in 6th with front wing damage, Senzu in 7th, Tristan in 8th, 9th for VCC, and Avenue OK making his way through the final corner to finish in the points. Bench Warmer in 11th, and Jamie with the final ones across the line in... yeah. What a race. Good job to... So, well done to Adam for getting his first win of the season. Well earned. Stayed out of the barriers. When the qualifying strategy worked, he went out on the soft compound tyres first, guaranteeing him into Q3, and had a sterling lap in qualifying and stayed in the lead, most importantly, with a great strategy on the one stop. Bartu stayed behind Adam throughout most of the race, but had those time penalties, so he could never think about getting that lead. And while Vacant, very, very good drive, finishing in second place. Congratulations to all three of those drivers. We now go up ahead. What's the calendar looking like? We are looking ahead for the Italian Grand Prix around Monza. Oh jeez, okay, Monza, that's going to be an exciting race, to say at the very least. I'll see you all